accompanied by the board of Yayasan Hasanah and the board of AVPN. Yang Berhormat Datuk Sri Haja Nancy binti Haji Sukri, Minister of Women, Family and Community Development. Yang Berhormat Puan Hana Yo, Minister of Youth and Sports.
Yang berbahagia Tan Sri Magno Yusof, Chairman of Yayasan Hasanah. Yang berbahagia Datuk Amirul Faisal, Managing Director of Khazanah Nasional Berhad. Yang berbahagia Datuk Syahira Ahmed Bazari, Managing Director of Yayasan Hasanah.
And Madam Naina Subewal Batra, CEO of AVPN, members of Yayasan Hasanah Board of Trustees and the AVPN Board of Directors, distinguished speakers, members of the medias, ladies and gentlemen.
Assalamualaikum, welcome and a very good morning to the Honourable Ministers. Allow us to introduce ourselves. I'm Hanis Hisham from Yayasan Hasanah, a foundation of Khazanah Nasional Berhad.
And I'm David Lim from the Asian Venture Philanthropy Network, AVPN, Malaysian team, and we will be your MC for today's proceedings.
That's right, David, and it's truly our honor and privilege to be graced by the ministers of the Government of Malaysia today at the AVPN Global Conference 2023.
The AVPN Global Conference is a convening of social investors and impact leaders who are playing the key roles in mobilizing capital towards impact. This year, it is co-hosted with Yayasan Hasanah, marking the first time that AVPN Global Conference is brought to Malaysia.
A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. What an exciting time for the social impact scene. And in the spirit of this collaboration, part of the AVPN Global Conference is the Hasanah Forum, which explores the intersection of philanthropy and justice. Today, on the third and final day of the conference, we're immensely thrilled and honored to be joined by leaders of the nation. Thank you once again for gracing us with your presence. Ladies and gentlemen, now to kickstart today's program, please join me to welcome Tan Sri Magno Yusof, Chairman of Yayasan Hasanah, to deliver a special message.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Ministers, Datuk Sri Nancy Haji Sukri, Puan Hana Yo, ABP Chairperson Veronica Colundum, Chief Executive Officer of AVPN, Naina, fellow members of Yayasan Hasanah Trustees, distinguished guests, and members of AVPN. Assalam and a very good morning. First, I must say, such a big audience, it got me a bit nervous, but I'll try. Well, first, let me extend our warmest welcome to all our new friends visiting Malaysia for the first time. You will find this is a beautiful country. I'm impartial, of course. In fact, I would say that the beaches in the East Coast Peninsula and Sabah, the beaches there are so fabulous at this time of the year. And also at this time, just off the coast of Rompin, you will find a migration of sailfish coming here to feed on the anchovies. So it is such an amazing sight to see. They come in hundreds to feed. And this time you will find lots of foreign visitors, those sailfish enthusiasts. There'll be a big crowd there. You will enjoy it if you go, I'm certain. So YB Nancy, that's my bid for tourism. As you know, for your information, YB Nancy was our tourism minister at one time, but she has a new portfolio now. Now back to this hall, sorry. So, well, on behalf of Yayasan Hasanah, I would like to take this honor to express our deepest appreciation to AVPN, to Naina especially, for the opportunity to co-host the prestigious AVPN Global Conference this year. As side by side for our biannual Yayasan Forum, lending us the unique exposure to a wide number of esteemed philanthropies, social activists, and social enterprises. Most valuable exposure for us. And most importantly, we are introduced to new dimensions to Yayasan's own course. In fact, over the past 2 days, we have seen so much interchange of ideas and sharing of unique experiences, which only events like this could provide. That was really fortunate. The AVPN, as I come to understand, was established principally to serve as catalysts for collaboration and collective action of diverse philanthropies, especially in the impact spaces. So this is a new thing, I think, that we want to familiar with. In fact, for me, this phrase, I learned a phrase last 2 days, this phrase called mobilizing capital for impact investing. In fact, I will share with you that for most of my working career, I was a banker. And you know, banks, we mobilize capital, but to intermediate for profit. So I would say that I did feel a bit of pang for a while, but I must say I have redeemed somewhat since joining Khazanah and Yayasan with all the good things they're doing. Hopefully so lah, redemption. So as explained by earlier by Dato' Faisal and Shahira, Yayasan Hasanah evolved from straight CSR, donation giving and grant making, and we have grown, so we would like to believe, to become an institution for good. Functioning on our own and in collaboration with public institutions and other similar like foundations. I'm glad to say that YH is sustainable. We have we are considerably endowed, and we have the capacity to assemble talent, inshallah. And clearly we have embedded clear vision and mission. So, ladies and gentlemen, as conclusion to my brief remarks, let me again thank AVPN and her fellow trustee, Veronica Colundum and friends, for bringing AVPN to Kuala Lumpur. Thank you. And I would end here with a quote from Diana in her opening speech. She said, "All of us share a common goal: to create a future where prosperity and well-being are not privileges for the few, but accessible to all." Thank you.
Thank you, Tan Sri, for that wonderful open. We are honored to have you open our amazing event today. And now, ladies and gentlemen, a special video presentation on the aspiration and spirit of Malaysia Madani.
Apa yang penting yang dihadapi oleh rakyat, masalah pendidikan, kesihatan, prasarana mesti ditangani dengan baik. Ini kerajaan perpaduan yang serius dan kita bertekad untuk menyelesaikan masalah ini dalam keadaan yang segera. Ada kegelisahan yang berasas, tanggungjawab kita untuk selesaikan bersama. Negara ini, saudara, mesti diselamatkan, mesti diangkat semula martabatnya. Kita mahu Malaysia harum semula sebagai negara adil dan adil kepada rakyatnya. Rakyatnya dari semua kaum dan semua agama dan semua pelosok kampung dan pedalaman.
Angkat martabat ekonomi, bela nasib rakyat. Kalau pimpinannya bertanggungjawab, negara ini mampu bawa perubahan.
Salah satu negara yang harus dikenali dan dihormati sebagai negara makmur, negara adil, negara yang menolak sebarang bentuk kezaliman terhadap individu atau kaum. Kita mahu negara ini dikenali dengan semangat baru, semangat rakyat yang faham erti kebebasan dan kemerdekaan. Maka berilah kesempatan untuk anak-anak kita, untuk generasi penerus, supaya harapan ini boleh dibina dengan kekuatan yang dimulai sekarang.
Such a powerful, moving video. Ladies and gentlemen, now delivering the closing address on behalf of the Prime Minister of Malaysia, please welcome the Minister of Women, Family and Community Development, Yang Berhormat, Datuk Sri Nancy Shukri.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And a very, very good morning. Yang Berhormat Puan Hanayo, Minister of Youth and Sports. Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Muhammad Yusof, Chairman of the Yayasan Hasanah. Yang Berbahagia Dato' Amirul Faisal, Managing Director of Hasanah National. Yang Berbahagia Dato' Shahira Ahmad Bazari, Managing Director of Yayasan Hasanah. Madam Naina Subarwal Batra, CEO of AVPN, members of Yayasan Hasanah Board of Trustees and the AVPN Board of Directors, distinguished speakers, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, the Honorable Prime Minister conveys his sincere regards to all and regrets not being able to attend this forum. Please allow me to read on his behalf the keynote address he has prepared earlier. But before that, on a personal note, I'd like to congratulate Yayasan Hasanah for being able to gather so many people here this morning. I hope I'm not nervous, like what Tan Sri said. Well, Salam Malaysia Madani, and thank you for inviting me to deliver this keynote address. I hope this forum will provide the opportunity to share and celebrate experiences, as well as cultivate future collaborations, new ideas, and innovate solutions towards an equitable and sustainable future for all. While the fundamental requirements of democracy are associated with freedom and the rule of law, no less important is the need for equality, not just in terms of equal treatment before the law, but extending to equitable distribution of wealth. For democracies to flourish, it is imperative to have social and economic justice so as to bring about a fair and equitable society, one where there is fairness and opportunity for all, regardless of background, going hand in hand with fair distribution of wealth and resources. Hence, I was quite heartened to note that the Hasanah Forum places rights and justice-based giving not only as part of their larger narrative and advocacy, but through real-life action in how they give and how they monitor and drive accountability. Building a more just and equitable world requires collective efforts from individuals, communities, government, and organizations. It requires implementing policies and initiatives that challenge systemic barriers and biases that perpetuate injustice. Further, there must be political will, in as much as politics and governance play a significant role in shaping policies, laws, and institutions that can either perpetuate or address social injustices. This is why this administration is committed to practicing good governance, transparency, integrity, and accountability, which is in full consonance with Malaysia Madani. As a guiding philosophy of nationhood, Malaysia Madani will take us on a continuous journey to achieve a just, equitable, and humane society in pursuing the nation's development holistically and putting the needs of the Rakyat first. It is important that philanthropy moves beyond charity and becomes a key mechanism that supports social justice by addressing the root causes. The embodiment of the Malaysia Madani concept seeks to promote a sense of responsibility among citizens towards the nation's development and encourages active participation and engagement in civic societies. This, in turn, fosters value-based growth and people-centered mechanisms so that no one is left behind in building national and regional resilience as well as sustainable policies. An economy that truly serves humanity is one that embraces social justice, protects the environment, and nurtures the well-being of the people. It is an economy that values people over profits and seeks to create a world where dignity, fairness, and sustainability are the guiding principles. Malaysia Madani encompasses the idea of a just and inclusive society, where all citizens are treated fairly and have equal opportunities, regardless of their ethnic, religious, or social background. While the 6 key pillars of Malaysia Madani also encapsulate the Sustainable Development Goals, of which some progress has been achieved, the COVID-19 pandemic has unfortunately regressed some of the advances made. The pandemic has disrupted global efforts for poverty eradication, highlighting the inequalities of health accessibility among countries and regions. Nonetheless, it also provided us an opportunity to build back our resilience by putting forth a humanity-based development. In this regard, ensuring the people's well-being is of paramount importance through a new set of philanthropic and impact economy lenses. With this in mind, it is envisioned that this forum, aptly themed as Fostering Justice-Based Philanthropy, Shifting the Narrative to Action, will serve as a platform to realize the spirit of Madani, not only for Malaysia, but for a stronger regional partnership that will enrich mutual investments and cooperation. The challenges of the 21st century are marked by significant changes that have rendered some of the traditional structures and systems less adaptable and ineffective. Consequently, we need governance structures that are adaptable and flexible that would ensure fairness and justice. The global economic landscape has shifted, not only on account of the COVID-19 pandemic, but also with the rise of digital economies, the fourth industrial revolution, artificial intelligence, and knowledge-based industries. In addition to these are the geopolitical convulsions caused by the emerging conflicts and tensions across the globe, while globalization has also made us all the more interlinked and interdependent. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot deny that there is growing demand for greater transparency, accountability, and accessibility for participatory governance, where citizens are increasingly seeking inclusive government structures that allow for meaningful engagement to address issues such as corruption, political reform, and human rights. We are also facing the urgent need to address climate change and other environmental issues that require innovative and transformative approaches. Traditional structures and policies often struggle to keep pace with the speed and scale of action required to mitigate climate change, protect biodiversity, and transition to sustainable development. And while tackling global issues, I remain cognizant of being invested in our next generation. It is in that spirit that the government remains most concerned about the globally declining mental health conditions of our youth, and Malaysia, regretfully, is no different. Addressing mental well-being is ever more pressing, with latest statistics suggesting our youth has indicated higher levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. Based on the National Health and Morbidity Survey, or NHMS 2022, suicidal thoughts among adolescents have been growing for the past decade. In 2017, it was 10%, and this has risen to 13% in 2022. Depression has also been increasing, with latest numbers indicating 1 in 4 adolescents are depressed. I imagine the numbers must be rising as well in other countries. It is especially crucial for our youth to have access to the right resources and to safe avenues for treatment, as it is our young women and young men who are the future of Malaysia and of all the countries represented here today. As such, allow me to take this opportunity to offer my heartiest congratulations to Yayasan Hasanah and to the Asian Venture Philanthropy Network for taking the important stride of tackling mental well-being amongst our youth in Asia today. Shortly, YB Hana Yo will be announcing the establishment of the Asian Youth Mental Wellbeing Philanthropic Pooled Fund. The purpose of this fund is to increase the accessibility of mental health services across Malaysia and across the region by encouraging and mobilizing more capital alongside facilitating conversations among donors. Ladies and gentlemen, we are stronger when we move together. The same can be said for a nation to continue developing, which requires the concerted effort of all stakeholders in creating sustainable and meaningful impact. I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Yayasan Hasanah for becoming Malaysia's leading independent grant-making foundation and have been pivotal in bridging the gap between civil societies, local communities and corporations, a true model of success of public-private philanthropic partnerships. I think they deserve a big round of applause for that. Thank you. Well, for 2023, I'm pleased to announce another matching grant partnership with Yayasan Hasanah of Ringgit Malaysia 50 million for the implementation of Hasanah Special Grant 4. There's a big responsibility for me to read this keynote address. 50 million ringgit. Well, this partnership has enabled the largest funding to civil society and social enterprises from the government, and I am appreciative for the support and leadership of Yayasan Hasanah and Khazanah Nasional. Hasanah Special Grants also enabled significant growth in income generation amongst vulnerable communities. We have seen the emergence of success stories of local grassroots startups and social and impact businesses through collaborative efforts contributing to increasing Malaysia's economic competitiveness and building national resilience while delivering socio-economic benefits and impacts for the people. Khazanah Nasional has launched the Future Malaysia program, an initiative under its Dana Impact mandate, which supports the local startup ecosystem of entrepreneurs, startups, venture capital, and corporate venture programs through domestic and international collaborations. Dana Impact is a 6 billion ringgit commitment over 5 years and is a key pillar under Khazanah's Advancing Malaysia strategy, seeking to invest across 6 themes based on issues and challenges facing the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope the new information shared and learned these past few days will accelerate the process of transforming ideas into actions in creating a just, equitable, and inclusive society for our nation and the region. Thank you. That's all from the Prime Minister. Thank you very much.
Wow, and that was the closing address delivered by Yang Berhormat Dato Sri Nancy Shukri on behalf of the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Yang Amat Berhormat Dato Sri Anwar bin Ibrahim.
And now to join Dato Sri for a special photo moment, we invite onto the stage the Honourable Minister Yang Berhormat Minister Hana Yo to be joined by Chairman of Yayasan Hasanah Tan Sri Matno Yusof, Managing Director of Khazanah Nasional Berhad Dato Amirul Faisal Wan Zahid, Managing Director of Yayasan Hasanah Dato Syahira Ahmad Bazari.
And we have Chair of AVPN, Veronica Kolondam, Board Director of AVPN, Haviko, CEO of AVPN, Nena Subewal Batra.
And Trustee of Yayasan Hasanah Yang Mulia Tunku Ali Zakri alias.
thank you to Yang Berhormat Nancy Shukri and distinguished guests. We invite you all to return to your seats as we proceed to the next agenda of the day.
Terima kasih diucapkan. Now, David, it's really apt. As the Prime Minister's speech earlier mentioned an inclusive and sustainable future for the nation and the region. And to achieve this very vision, it's critical to have a society with young people who are equipped to succeed.
And that leads to our latest work at AVPN and its network organizations, including Chevron and Yayasan Hasanah. We're coming together in designing a philanthropic pool fund that will tackle this epidemic in a sustained and scalable manner. And it is the Asian Youth Mental Wellbeing Fund, which is focused on funding innovative and proven interventions that address multidimensional mental well-being among young people. And in this spirit, it is my pleasure to welcome on stage Yang Berhormat Hannah Yeoh, the Minister of Youth and Sports of Malaysia, who will be delivering her keynote address and subsequently join us in launching the Asian Youth Mental Wellbeing Fund. And a round of applause for YB Hannah.
Good morning. Yang Berhormat Datuk Sri Haja Nancy binti Haji Shukri, Minister of Women, Family and Community Development. Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Muhammad Noor Yusof, Chairman of Yayasan Hasanah. Yang Berbahagia Datuk Amirul Faizal, Managing Director of Khazanah Nasional. Yang Berbahagia Datuk Syahira Ahmad Bazri, Managing Director of Yayasan Hasanah. Madam Naina Subawal Batra, CEO of AVPN. Members of Yayasan Hasanah Board of Trustees and the AVPN Board of Directors, distinguished